business problems is personal problems. It's just like in a business suit, right? But it is always personal. Even like it, and it costs you money. And it's let's say you need to fire somebody a long time ago. It costs you business money. But the personal issue, people don't like emotional leaders. It doesn't look good. Even if you're right, the moment you raise your voice, you're wrong. So the most reliable leader in the room is the one who is calm and talks with certainty. Why you care so much about even this person? Like, why do you want to prove this person or deliver a message? Like, why do you even care to let them know what you think, right? It's like there are different versions of how to deal with a situation, but it's always like, some people don't deserve your energy.
You just heard a few moments from my conversation with Nataliya Preiss. What struck me throughout this discussion is that it's really a story about alignment. We build businesses, chase growth, hit milestones, but what happens when that version of success you built no longer feels like yours? That's what we dig into today. Burnout, identity, partnerships, and why the biggest business challenges are usually more personal than we think. This is Unfiltered Solopreneur. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Unfiltered Solopreneur. I'm your host, Nikhil. My next guest has lived the plot twist so many high-achieving women secretly fear, getting everything that was supposed to mean success, realizing it no longer fit her body or soul, walking away, rebuilding from the inside out, and now helping women stop performing success and start authoring power on their own terms. Nataliya, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me for this amazing podcast.
I hope it's amazing, and I'm excited for our conversation. So you told me you started your own business at 27. You were married, 2 kids, master's degree in one hand, a toddler in the other. Now, most people that age are just trying to figure out what they want to be. What made you look at that picture and decide, I'm going to build my life? I'm not going to build my life, rather, inside somebody else's rules.
I think it was just a sense of adventure. And trust me, I believe I love being mom. But it was always in me something that I came here with a message. I came here to build something, to have an impact. I had no idea at age of 27 what it's going to look like 20 years later. But at that moment, it was just this, just a sense of adventure. Like I really wanted to travel the world. I wanted to be a journalist when I was young, and I had a school newspaper in high school, and I was very excited. I wanted to report from the war zones, to be like on the front line and reporting and writing amazing stories. And I told my father, I want to be a journalist. And he said, there's no money in journalism. Go to business school and get married.
Okay.
And I wanted to be a good daughter, and I didn't know better. I went to please my daddy, and I went to business school. And then I married again, following the older's advice, right? Because they want us to be happy. So I don't blame parents for anything. It's our decision, it's our journey. But looking back now, like I realized I was pleasing and building dreams that was not for me. It was somebody else's idea, what happiness looks like, what success supposed to look like. So I got married the first year of college, and I had a baby right away. So yeah, college books and diapers and studying, and I graduated and have another child. So I basically spent my 20s on education and raising kids.
Right.
So when I was 27 and my youngest went to preschool, I had more time, and I wanted to be with my family, and I wanted to have this flexibility. And I'm not built for for 9 to 5 job. I'm just like, I cannot have a boss. I cannot report to someone. Um, so I got my business degree, got some use of it. I became global business consultant, so I can travel the world, what I always wanted, and also have flexible hours, so I can be with my children
Yeah,
more.
that's interesting because it's like you started by saying you don't like to be tied down. You don't like, you want adventure, you want to do all these different things, and you always knew you wanted to build something, right?
Yeah.
And yet, two parts of that story, you sort of followed the advice. And I agree. Parents are not, they're not, they mean well. For their generation, that was the playbook, right? You get married, you get a stable job, and, you kind of build a life. But it's interesting. The third part, you sort of did write your own rules, right? You didn't go and get the job. And I understand it was driven a little bit by
It's still on my
flexibility.
terms, yes.
Yeah. But it
I
was,
still
yeah,
make it work. Yeah, for me, the way I knew, and and I'm glad I followed my this sense of aliveness. That's why what I also teach my students and work with my clients, like, find what makes you happy, what keeps you this fire, what you love to do, and then learn how to make money while having fun. That is the best career advice I would give. And I'm so glad I followed that impulse. Like, this is right, this is so fun. I can do this. And it was actually fun and easy and effortless. I was making money. It was too easy. So, so later, when we get to the point when I got to the startup and building somebody else's dream, I assumed it's going to be as easy as I always had it for me. It was just
yeah.
going to be bigger and bigger team, and it's going to be faster. No. Um, so back to the idea of do what you love and do it well and have fun. That is the best shortcut to happiness and fulfilled life.
Yeah, no, I think it's great advice. And then to your point just now, you sort of almost, I guess you thought you could apply the same rules when you co-founded this startup, right? Now you became a co-founder of a startup, you helped it grow from 5 to 35 million in valuation, you became a CEO and an investor, and you moved in very high profile circles, right? From what you told me,
Yeah,
the Tony Robbins Platinum Group. So on paper, on the outside, it looks like the ultimate highlight reel,
you
right?
made it.
But you said eventually it felt hollow in your body, right? So talk to us a little bit about what was actually happening on the inside while all of this was building on the outside.
So what is like 15 years later, after my own thing, like being solo entrepreneur and having fun doing it, I got to the point. We'll skip the part that I was angel investor. I was advising startups in Los Angeles when it was 2018. Silicon Beach was growing fast, and I was invited to the local competitions of like a kind of Shark Tank uh, competition for startups, so they can pitch investors. So I was invited um, to be on the panel because they need diversity. They wanted a woman to be among all, usually like older white men were the majority of the investors back then. Now, thank goodness, things are changing. But back then, they needed a woman to be at least one of the judges. So I was invited to many events, and that was my platform. I was visible. I was advising startups. I was investing, and at some point, I just wanted to join a startup. I told myself, if I see some great idea, and I wanted to focus on female startup or the product that benefits women. And I told myself, if I find this product or this startup, I'm gonna not just invest, I'm gonna join as a CMO because I have marketing background, which is also smart. I would babysit my money
Yeah.
while having fun. I just wanted to have a product that really brings me joy and has an impact globally on women's health. And I was just looking for this amazing product, and I manifest fast. So at some point it happened. Um, the problem with that was my assumption that it's going to be fun, as it always been. I like we talk, right? People usually want to like tell me about success, how you made it, and that's why I appreciate you do um, ask questions on this podcast and reveal what is behind the scenes of success, right? It
Yeah.
takes 20 years for the overnight success, in sleepless nights and tears and sweat and depression and fights and divorces and
Yeah.
bankruptcies and friendships, right, dissolved. All kinds of things happening, what people don't see. So I was not prepared for that kind of festival. We were scaling fast. And when you scale fast, things break if you're not prepared. And I truly believe that the business is the extension of the energy field of the owner or two owners, like in my case, because I joined the team and also have my business partner became my boyfriend became my life partner. So that became complicated almost right away. The power pool, the unhealed things that we are both human and under pressure. Any person is being faced with all kind of things that are
Yeah.
not healed,
Right.
especially well, like if you take any um, business person before another level, we all have challenges or like tests, like can you hold this new level? Do you have this new identity? Did you become this person? Are you prepared, right? Like that's why I emphasize how important to have a personal development and business development, because if you're not ready for the next level, it's going to collapse. You're going to lose it. You will find a way to either sabotage it or will be crushed by the circumstances, or there's a lot of under pressure. Like we had pressure to Tony Robbins was one of the shareholders, so pressure was like, we need to deliver. I
Yeah.
went to bed at 2 a.m. for a year. I slept 5 hours, which is horrible for women's health. Um, and I burn out physically, emotionally, because relationship inside the business between us, romantic relationship didn't work. And this leaking energy, all these problems was leaking into business.
Right.
And then it's just like it's um, without addressing, without dealing, just you cannot skip this. It's you're gonna fall into your face. Like prepare pillows, right? Because it's gonna happen sooner or later. Just like you postpone it or you deal with that. That's why it's important to have business coach or life coach, or especially if couple is working together, for sure relationship coach, because it's going to be, any couple goes through it's life, right? It's in
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like everything in nature is has season up and downs, and especially like working together, I don't recommend, and I knew it before actually, and I still did it because I thought this is an arrogant version of me thought like, well, it's not going to happen to me, I'm going
Right.
to do better. Nope.
Right. And I think you're right. Because I think the nuance has been lost in this idea of bring your whole self to work. Now that doesn't mean you sit and look for therapy at work and talk about your dating life, but it does mean that, like you said, if there are unresolved things, and issues and things, they will spill over between the two sides, right? It's not like you can compartmentalize who you are outside of the office and who you are inside of the office, right? I mean, the way you conduct yourself and things like that, sure, but not intrinsically the things that are underpin the way your operating system runs, if there's for a lack of a better way of saying it.
Yeah, and it's balance and
Yeah.
awareness and presence. What many business owners um, make mistake um, is the place when they are very future oriented. Like I'm gonna deal with this later. I'm gonna have vacation later. When we get this money, then we're gonna fix that.
Yeah.
No, business and life is happening right now. You cannot put certain things under the rug. You cannot, mostly if we're talking about just business, business problems is personal problems.
Mhm.
It's just like in a
Yeah.
business suit, right? But it is always a personal, even like it, and it costs you money. And it's let's say you need to fire somebody a long time ago. It costs you business money. But the personal issue, you want to keep peace, you avoid a conflict, what people gonna think about me, and personal stuff is on the way of a business decision.
Yeah.
And it's gonna end up anyway, not in a good way. And that is again awareness, self-awareness and presence, and understand what our priorities are in business and how you can show up every day as a better leader and a better person. But so starting with a better person that would make you a better leader at the end of the day.
Yeah, because again, it is about relationships, right? Ultimately, that's what it boils down to. So, so
Yeah.
I agree, and I think that's something that gets lost in the noise, if you like. So, I want to move forward now. Now, you quit your startup that you co-founded, then you told me you traveled, you healed, and you work with some spiritual mentors, right? Now,
Yeah.
for someone who had spent years building, executing, delivering, now that must have felt like a very different kind of work, right? So tell me a little bit about what that phase looked like. And also, when did you know you were ready to build again? But this
Mm,
time for the soul is what you told me, right? Not for the outside world.
yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you the moment I realized when I was not happy at all.
Yeah. When you were done. Mm.
I didn't quit yet. And I was listening to some podcast and doing something else, just kind of like um, at the same time. And then I paused. This woman, she was interviewed. The way her presence, it wasn't like she was like attractive. She was a great speaker. She definitely knew what she was talking about. But what caught my attention, I dropped what I was doing. I was just glued to that screen. I'm like, oh my God, your presence. I want to be free like her. And then I realized like how trapped I am, how we need a reflection, right? A mirror. I
Yeah.
call it divine mirror to reflect to us what's missing, right? What we miss. I missed myself so much, what I used to be, like
Yeah.
free and playful, and work wasn't work. It was fun before, and now I felt trapped. I felt like a pickup truck. And instead of before I used to be like this racing, Ferrari, and now I'm like, I'm freaking pickup truck. I don't want this. I don't want
Right.
this money. I don't want this step, whatever comes with this. It's not worth it if it's killing my spirit. So I quit, and I was just like literally physically burn out, and many things happened. Obviously, it compounded. So I made decision to leave the relationship and the company because both were not good for me.
Right.
And I traveled the world. I went to Egypt. I went to Costa Rica, Tulum, south of France, all these sacred places that still remember divine feminine. I think 3 spiritual mentors. I worked like I'm binging. I'm a very good student. So I was binging all of it and got certifications, but that's not even the point. The most important is the experience and how I've changed. So I
Yeah.
can walk my talk. So I can be the woman that somebody's watching and hopefully she thinks, I want to be free like her.
Right.
And that is my mission right now, to help women to get out of that armor, the masks, the all these like we women have conditions from the early age, like be kind, be small, don't talk, don't like be nice girl, and we build somebody else's dreams, and we forget about our own like big dreams. They're somewhere on the back seat, under the tasks in grocery lists and self abandonment.
Yeah.
And I would love to see more women on stages in leadership positions. We need more women with good money in the
Yeah.
powerful positions. That's my goal.
Yeah. No,
That's
I
my fire.
Yeah, no, I agree. But one of the things in my mind, and maybe you'll disagree, but I think burnout is less about working too hard and working too many hours. It's about lack of alignment, right? And it sounds
Exactly.
like your
Yeah.
journey was all about realigning and finding that alignment again, right? So
Yeah.
whatever you're doing next, it sounds like you've made sure that the Ferrari is back at the
Yeah.
center of that,
And
right?
roaring and
Yeah,
then vroom, vroom, that's it. But I like the way you said it, because alignment it's not about working too much. It's working not enough on
yeah,
something that brings you joy.
yeah,
So we focus on different things. And again, speaking of women, because this is my majority of my clients are women now. I had men too, but my focus is on women, and it is very masculine. The business structure as it now is very masculine, and women trying to be men with a lipstick, and it's not okay.
yeah.
I want to change that. And again, we can be productive and efficient, and also we can have fun doing it and being our feminine, and we have better results actually when we are in our feminine energy.
I agree. And I think women should, I'm a firm, and we can maybe have a separate podcast on this, but women have been told for so many years that they need to behave and act more like men in the corporate world. And I totally disagree. I feel like you said, if women brought that genuine female energy, you could actually get men to act more like women in terms of the way they think, the way they cooperate, the way they,
Collaboration, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and think more about outcomes than ego, right? That is fundamentally the
Yeah,
difference I found between male and, I'm generalizing a little bit, but between male and female bosses, right? Men are
yeah.
scared of being wrong more than they want the right outcome. Women typically are open to advice, open to direction, open to guidance, as long as you get to a better place. So, but there's that.
And it's backed by statistics,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay.
Women's
Yeah. No.
skills are, yeah.
Glad to hear that. So I
Yeah.
want to shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about brand building.
Okay.
So you've spent a decade as a CMO in the corporate and startup worlds, and when you were consulting, but you also work with hypno breath work, pranic healing, and quantum tools. Now these are very different worlds, right? So how do you bring it all together in a way that keeps the depth of what you do, but still feels clear for someone who's encountering your work for the first time?
Well, as I mentioned before, business is the extension of energy field of the owner,
Yeah.
and personal problems leak into the business problems. So this is my focus on when I start with. Let's pretend like I have a new client, and we go through evaluation of the soul's blueprint. Why is this person even came here onto this planet to get joy working, right? Like what would bring joy and money? Because usually when you do what you came here to do based on the soul's blueprint, you will always be funded. The
Right.
money will come. It's just like it's universal law. So we'll find what is yours, what is your path, and then what is the blocks on the quantum level, or the childhood, which is it's all connected. Like an example for me, I'm recovering overachiever, which is majority of ambitious business people. Overachiever, and why you became this kind of archetype, right? Why?
Right. What's missing?
Usually, it is
Yeah.
something like
A
to
hole
prove.
that you're filling. Yeah.
It
Right.
is a whole, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was something in you that you feel not enough, and there is a fire behind this ambition, and usually it's not very healthy reason to become successful. right? This unworthiness or not enoughness, or I'm going to prove you I'm dead, or I'm not what you think what you think of me. I'm going to prove you, or whatever it is. So we just like, we're looking at all of it, and we heal the parts. We learned how to love all of them, right?
Mhm.
And become whole. And when you start building and creating your empire from the wholeness, from the place that you love yourself, you love people, you love the world, you love your life, everything is just becomes, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's easy. It should be easy. Like we again conditioned that life is hard and suffering is normal. Pain, yes, in life we will definitely. I don't remember whose quote is this. Like, pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice, right?
Love that.
How we
Yeah.
deal with the pain.
Yeah.
That's what I am working with. Like, how the great leader is resistant. So you stay centered even in the center of chaos around you. You stay centered, you have clear mind, you have open heart, and you make decisions from the place of coherence. Because
Yeah.
usually most of the time what I observe, leaders are panicking or they're yelling at the team, and it's not good for the morale. And it affects everyone. We want leaders that we don't people don't people don't fear the leader,
Yeah.
right? They admire and respect this calm in the midst of the storm. I would like to see more leaders like that.
Yeah, but it's interesting what you say, because way you just, because you're talking about high performing people, right? Now
Yeah.
they don't typically sit around thinking they're, ROI driven, success driven, tangible metrics, blah blah blah. They're not thinking I have a hole that I'm filling, right? So I mean, and I imagine the kind of work that you do, people only really fully understand the depth after they've experienced it, right? So
Yeah.
before someone has been in the room or a retreat with you or done some of the, inner work you're talking about, how do you help them understand what might change, right? Again, they're coming from this efficiency driven exterior, if you like.
Usually people find me there, they are already did some work
Okay.
and they want to continue. What I see a lot is, especially men, are they spend a lot of time here. They're in the heads. I mean, a lot of people are just walking heads. So
Yeah.
disconnected with the body and with the heart, right? Heart needs to be protected, so they close it because they think more efficient and productive, but actually the best decisions are with open heart, and you receive this inspired ideas, and it's everything, it becomes actually easier and faster, and synchronicities arrive, and people out of nowhere, the right person, the right contract, the right client, it just becomes happening when you are aligned and you open to receive, for men
Yeah.
and women. And especially men are not very good at receiving, like providing and giving. And that's when I have male clients, when they usually, what I notice, the pattern, that they hit success and it's a plateau, and they cannot go through that ceiling, because usually it is like the mother wounding, which is again receptivity, how I receive, and worthiness. We get it, we inherit from our moms. And also receiving to go to another level, because you need to be open energetically to get to another level of success, which also vulnerability. When we go to another level of visibility and influence, it is a lot of vulnerability, and how you can hold this new level. That's when we work on energetics, because every level comes with people who gonna judge you,
Uh-huh.
who you will be misunderstood. You might lose some friends, colleagues, or it comes with it, right? A new version of you means you need to let go certain things in your life. So this is where I came in to help with those transitions, or like arrange and support during the transition on another level.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting what you said, because it's like, I often hear this from solopreneurs. It's like the old saying that you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So it sounded like you're not trying to convince anybody about this work, but the people who are attracted to it have already done a little bit or are open to it, right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And I mean, you wouldn't even see me or define
yeah,
me.
right.
Again, frequency, right? We only receive what we're ready for. And if you're watching me right now, it's also not accident. um, so it's yes, you cannot bring the horse, but you can plant some seeds.
Yeah,
Some people, like I had this great book. Several people told me about that book. And I finally purchased it 3 years later. I wasn't ready.
right.
And
Yeah.
I wish I read it before, like sooner. It happens like divine timing too.
Yeah, but you may not have been ready to receive those lessons then, right? Like you said. And I agree. I mean, I do believe that, and I'm a big believer in planting seeds. And also, if somebody's not ready, they're not ready. They may be ready down the road, and they may never be ready. And
And
that's
it's
okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said something on our pre-call, which I completely agree with, right? It's a philosophy I have too, that we all need a stranger to come in and name the problem we can't see from the outside, right? So I have a version of it. I say you can't read the label, you can't write the label from inside the bottle.
Right.
Now, since so much of your work helps women find that kind of clarity, I'm curious, where does that get hardest in your own business? Is there a part of your message or story or work that you still feel too close to see clearly?
Great question. Well, I agree with you. We all need a person, either a coach or even best friend, somebody who you trust with giving you not biased, but sometimes it's ugly truth because we need them. I would prefer. I'm straight shooter. I like direct communication. I'm not American. I came here. I was like 25, so I didn't understand first. Like I don't know. Forgive my French. Like shit language.
Yeah.
Like say something nice, then deliver truth, then say something nice again. I still I cannot do this because I am, in my culture, we like direct feedback. Um, so I really highly appreciate good feedback, constructive criticism, because then I know how to fix it, how to improve.
Yeah.
I love it. And every coach needs a coach.
Hmm.
I still have, I'm like into masterminds and I have a coach. Tony Robbins has a coach and he's one of the best in the world. So absolutely. I believe in ongoing, when somebody tells you they're enlightened, run,
Yeah.
because this is like you never stop. There is always some spiral go up. There is always another level for expansion and learning something new and become even better than yesterday. So absolutely, personal development, whatever it looks like for you, right? Could be meditation or yoga, or could be just even hiking with friends when you have the honest conversation and somebody gives you just truth without sugarcoating, being nice and please, people please, and just like like sometimes you can improve in this space, benefit the company or friendship or whatever it is. I think it's very
Yeah.
important. Honesty is one of my um values.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think that, and especially as a solopreneur or solo entrepreneur, I think it's even more important, right? Because you're literally I always say the issue is not that you're not smart enough, you haven't worked hard enough. It's just that it's proximity. You're too close to it. When you're living, breathing, sleeping, and eating the thing, it's very hard to see what you can't see, right? So
Right.
is there an area you're still developing, or you just no, nothing comes to mind? That's okay too.
Still developing. Well, I just finished my book. It's called
Yeah.
Her Voice. It's going to be soon on Amazon. um while I was writing the book, it was healing process. Absolutely. The book is working through me and on me. And also being vulnerable, sharing my um, personal story as an examples how we women betray our needs, our desires, abandon our dreams, how we play small, and what to do to change this situation. It's global. It's not like in this particular country. It's everywhere. And it's time for women to own their voice, their truth. And yeah, so
Yeah.
it's yeah, answering your question. I literally still like it is in editing right now phase, and it's still working on me, and I'm being tested in my life how I show up. Do I speak up when I again a test, right? Are you gonna say something, or how are you gonna deal with this situation?
Right.
Always, and when you go to another level, there is a test. Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
And
going through this.
and I think the thing is people try to hide those imperfect parts, right? I mean, I always feel like I relate less to people who come off as perfect and polished and got everything buttoned up because they just don't feel human, right? And I relate much more to somebody who is honest about the ups and downs. It doesn't mean you're a complete mess and a disaster, no, right? But it just means that, like you said, we're imperfectly perfect as being as humans.
Yes,
Yeah. So
that's human experience, right? To have it all, and happiness, and the times when you like just want to like whatever, I'm giving up, and then remind myself, why did I start this?
right.
Why it's important? What is your why?
Hmm. So now you've built as a consultant, as a startup operator. You also built a retreat, I believe. You're a brand strategist, speaker, author, and now you're going to have a TV show also, right? So when you look back, you talked about manifestation, but tell me a little bit about what has created momentum for you over and over again, right? Because you've done a lot of different things. Is it relationships, visibility, offers, referrals, or something else?
Alignment, like looking back,
Yeah.
every spike of success, it was connected to my state of just joy and enjoying life at this moment. I didn't need anything. I didn't clean. I didn't try to sell anything. I wasn't desperate. I was just, this is cool. Let's do it. you know?
Yeah.
And things were happening. And I think that is again a shortcut to to antidote
Hmm.
of hustling,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
have to. It doesn't mean I'm not hardworking businesswoman. Oh, I can, if I love something, I don't look at the clock. I can work nonstop. Forget to eat. But because it's so, I feel energized by the project. It's so much joy, and then it just brings results and amazing opportunities. And then you talk to someone like in the coffee shop just because they love the project, and they know somebody, and like, oh, and then introduction, and it just things happening because you, again, there is no this needy energy behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's it's very it's not easy, but it's simple.
Yeah, and you're right, and I think you're right. It goes back to alignment, right? Because if you're joyful and you wake up every day excited about what you're doing, other people can sense that, and it's almost like it's infectious. And
Oh
the
yeah,
opposite is also true. If you're desperate and you're trying really hard to sell, and you've got all this pressure on you, like and that's why I always say, if you're starting on your own, give yourself a runway, right? So you're
yeah.
not operating from a position of famine all the time, because you just people can. It's almost like you can smell
Oh yeah,
desperation, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's the opposite of, yeah, it has the opposite effect. So, and again, I agree, it's not to do with hard work. I mean, I'm working 7 days a week right now, right? Because I'm also writing a book, my first book, and trying to get that out with doing everything else, but I love it. I mean, like, I look forward to the weekends because I'm like, no meetings, I can just work. It's so exciting. Yeah.
Self-expression, that's a fun. That's what we. If you look at the kids, right? What is it? Why is they happy? Not because they don't have job, but they play. They lots of play, and they pretend, and self-expression. They dance. They, you know, they. I have a granddaughter. She would fall, and then she would get up, wipe her tears, and then she's smiling right away, right? Because they're not conditioned, kids are not conditioned yet to be stuck in
Yeah.
like looping in this trauma and coping mechanism and close heart because I don't want to hurt again, be, like to be hurt by this, whatever, any situation. And then it just affects the way we work in the life and the way we make decisions. It just from the false identity that we learn to become so we can cope with all this other stuff from the past. And
Yeah.
again, that's
Yeah.
the time again when to heal. That's when the hypnosis and quantum healing and embodiment and the hypno breath work. I'm using a lot of modalities to address the root problem, why you're making decisions from this hurt person identity, right? And when that healed, it just you feel lighter, you enjoy life, and business is flourishing because you feel better as a person, and then business is being affected.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
you're right, and I love the analogy. I mean, the example rather of your granddaughter, right? Because you're right. At that age, it's like, it's like you said, pain happens, bad thing happens to everybody. The
Yeah,
difference is when you sit and dwell on it, and you blame everybody, the universe, why me, versus just like you say, deal with the pain, sit through it,
yeah.
and then move on, right, to the next. That's yeah,
That that is things, the victim consciousness,
yeah,
right? When people say like, why it's happening to me, right? Instead of for me.
right, yeah,
And that is the first step to get out of there, is taking responsibility for your state, for your actions, for your thoughts. That's if somebody who's new to personal development is watching this right now, this is just something to contemplate on. What is, I mean, even like relationship, if it's not business, let's say in relationships, there is always two people. You need two people to tango. What is your part? Of course, another person screwed up, but where are you screwed up?
right.
And that's a just nice journaling prompt. And then forgive yourself and move on.
Yeah, exactly. Take the lesson and move on, right? I always say it's important to also just, don't try to bottle it up and say nothing happened because something did happen, right?
Yeah,
And
let's not
yeah,
pretend. Come
yeah,
on.
exactly. Because again, that's not how we work, right? We're not a
Leadership starts with the honesty. When we stop pretending, you cannot lead others until you lead yourself. And that's the time of the first step to leadership, self-leadership, right?
yeah.
What did I do to create the situation and how I can do better?
Yeah. So the other thing I want to touch on is, so you've experienced both sides of this, right? Building alone and as a solopreneur. And I mean, as building as a solopreneur and also with a co-founder, where the financial and emotional stakes in your case were very real. So for someone thinking about bringing in a partner or an investor, what are the conversations you recommend they have about money, friendship, ambition before they sort of jump in together?
Values. Make sure that you have the same values.
Yeah,
You have impact in mind and another person have money, it's going to be a problem.
true.
Sooner or later, it's going to be a problem. Also, even you have a friend that you want to partner with as a business partner, make sure everything is in writing, in legal language, like a prenup.
Right.
It's like kind of like business marriage, right? So it's not going to be later when you do have a conflict. Um, Make sure at the beginning relationship while you both good and happy and you you care about each other, right? So the terms of either dissolution or how we deal with this situation, or if this crisis shows up, steps, right? um, of action plan, everything, I would say brainstorm and write it down at the beginning of relationship. It's important. It's going to save you a lot of time and stress later because you have like manual to follow this step, especially in the crisis and stress. People are emotional. They don't think straight. There could be resentment compounded by that moment. And um, I would say it's a good idea to deal with it at the beginning. It's gonna save you a lot um, of time and stress
Heartache.
later.
Yeah.
Yes, prenup,
Yeah.
business
Business prenup. No, I love that. And also, I think to your point earlier, and again, there's that I heard the alignment again, right? Because values are really about being alignment again. But
prenup.
it also exposes any cracks or gaps, right? If you do this initially, you'll get a better idea of, because, we assume too many things, I think, in life, right?
Yes.
Rather than communicate them. So,
Yeah. Again, like a romantic relationship, right? There is a
yeah.
honeymoon. People don't ask questions. They assume it's going to be forever. Same in business. There are good times, it will be very hard times and hard decisions, and you're going to let go people or fire or have uncomfortable conversations. So you better have some action plan, and you do it, you write it down when you are in good mood for the highest good of all. So as a good leader that it serves you, serves your team, or there is equal and beneficial for both parties if it's a business partner, right? Like, how are we going to deal with this? So be clear. Yes, at the beginning of the relationship, what are we going to do in case of divorce? Let's say
Yeah.
business divorce. What's the plan? And you can laugh about it at the beginning, but it's going to be very helpful when, in case it happens. And it happens a lot,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
True,
Yeah.
true. You don't know what the bumps in the road are going to be. And the other thing, and one lesson I've learned is like also don't assume you can change somebody. So even if your gut is telling you something, right? It's like, oh, don't worry, working with me, I'll change the person. They'll come around to my point of view. People don't change unless it comes from inside. You can't change anybody, right? So I think
Right.
that's another thing that at least I've learned the hard way in terms of partnerships. So
Yeah.
yeah. So the last thing I want to talk about is you talked about you talk about nervous system intelligence, right? And one of the things you said to me was the most powerful strategy is the one your body can sustain. So for the solopreneur listening, whose heart starts racing when they look at their to-do list today, what is one simple daily practice that can help them regulate before they start reacting, right?
Breathe.
Okay. Yeah.
That would be the easiest, and it's free.
Yeah.
And it also helps if you are in the room and you cannot leave the room, right? If you can, definitely take your time to go to for a walk or at least bathroom and have this moment, like a 4x4 breathing, like, you can 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, count till 4, down, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want rapid transformation to slow down, if you have like panic attack, then inhale 1, 2, 3, hold and exhale to like 7. So it's the exhale is longer than inhale. It affects your parasympathetic state almost immediately. So at least you calm down, so you don't say something that you're going to regret later. You don't look. People don't like emotional leaders. It doesn't look good. If you even if you're right, the moment you raise your voice, you're wrong.
Right.
So the most reliable leader in the room is the one who is calm and talks with certainty. So again, it's a very easy hack. Breathing is available for every human in every situation, and just regulate your system. Absolutely. If you can leave the room, leave, take a walk, just communicate that I'll be right back. And we're going to finish this conversation. There's just something important I need to do. Go for a walk, regulate yourself, and then come back centered, in a better state, and ready for making it from the place of love and care, not because you're furious or triggered or whatever is your human is doing. Right now, it's a business decision, and you need to be in a best shape and state as a business person. And it starts with regulating your human first.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. And then, like you said, it's free. Anyone can do it anywhere, right? And it reminds me of advice my father gave me, which I found most valuable, is like he always said, sleep on it, which means don't react in the moment, pull yourself out of the situation, calm the emotions down and then make the decision, right? And then put yourself back in. And almost wish we had like a default clock on social media. If you go to reply to somebody's comment, you have to wait 3 minutes before you can actually reply, right? I think the world would be a much better place if we had that.
Then also ask yourself, why are you triggered? It's not
Yeah.
about another person. They just
No.
mirror. There's something in you that is not healed, right? Or like, why you care so much about even this person? Like, why do you want to prove this person or deliver a message? Like, why do you even care to let them know what you think, right? It's like there are different versions of how to deal with a situation, but it's always like, some people don't deserve your energy. Even
Yeah.
if you put two sentences, it's your energy going to the wrong direction, which could be spent in a better place.
True. True.
So
No, I agree. It is. Yeah. I remember one of my favorite ones was like, I think it's an ancient Roman, or I don't even know when, but phrase that hate only corrodes the vessel it's carried in, right? It doesn't
yeah,
affect anybody else. And I'll always love that. It's like a proverb, I guess, that is unattributed. Okay, so last question before we get to our rapid fire round. If you had to give one piece of advice to someone wanting to start their solopreneur journey, what would you tell them?
figure out your why. Why do you want to start? And again, do something that brings you joy. That you love, and it's easy. It's the first sign. If something very you natural and some this is your gifts or what was fun to do when you were a kid. This is that is the literally sign like you should be doing more of that. Because when we kids, we still connected to the source, to the God, to the universe, whatever, you name it. And that's why they're playful and free and having fun. And then we forget. So absolutely find what you love, or if you are already doing something and you deep into the business and develop, like find your why or make your why fun. If it's already built and you cannot just walk away from it, find your why.
Yeah. No, I love that. And also, very often I've found in my conversations is, people don't know their why until they ask other people, right? Because what seems so obvious to them in terms of their genius is something they just think everybody does until they realize, wow, this is something that's, it's a superpower I have, which most people would pay money for. So, yeah, I,
Yeah.
I agree. So, getting to a rapid fire round now, we're just looking for one word or a sentence answer.
Right.
What is a sentence your younger self needed to hear?
Be loud.
Yeah,
It's
that's great.
okay to be loud.
What is one thing success taught you that failure never could?
Oh, wow. Great question. That I'm worthy of success.
Yeah, I love that. A spiritual lesson that became a marketing lesson.
Well, one of my programs is called Your Heart. And it is actually I needed this program.
Yeah,
I wish I could have it when I needed it, because I was again a female, a woman in a very masculine tech industry, and I became, you know, and then with a lipstick, and I closed my heart, and because I was driven and hustling, and I was like, um, yeah, when I quit, I was looking for through traveling through around the world and working with different amazing spiritual teachers. And we cannot manifest, we cannot bring anything else when your heart is closed.
right,
Because when we build the wall, it's not only protecting us from the pain in, it also, when we build the wall protects you from everything.
Both sides, yeah.
It
Right.
doesn't let joy in as well, which I didn't realize until I was like not be able to enjoy life. I didn't feel alive anymore. And that's when I started, like I went to start, I took dancing classes to connect to my feminine, and I went to many retreats to allow my heart to open. So when I did that successfully, that's what I'm teaching women, to open your heart so you can attract love if you're single, or manifest anything, your business, or whatever dream, career, in anything, in
Yeah,
every
yeah.
area of your life. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you told me, it sounds like, it goes back to what you said, is we often teach what we most need to learn, right? It
Yeah.
sounds like that's it. Yeah. So what do you wish people would ask you more often? Is there a question you wish people would ask you?
Mm. Planetary leadership. That's my topic.
Planetary leadership.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to ask you about that for a separate.
That's the next episode.
Yeah. What do you think people misunderstand most about feminine leadership?
Oh, okay. I think when we talk about like we need more leaders, it's by default, most of the time people think that in instead of man hierarchy, it's going to be female hierarchy. And that is not what matriarchy looks like. It's actually, there is no hierarchy, there is a circle, and everybody is equal, because that's used to be there is no even ruler. There is no king or queen. It's just like everybody is taking time to speak or to share wisdom and collaborate what is best for the collective, not for to serve the king. That is a difference. That's why I think we have so many problems in the world right now, because of the egos, and in mostly, I mean, majority
Yeah.
our leaders in the world are men. And I would say if women were majority, we wouldn't have wars, because women know what it's like to bring a child in the world. We wouldn't send children to the battlefield. It would be different, would be more negotiations, it would be conversations, and different world.
Yeah, I think you just encapsulate or explain why men are so scared of more female leadership, right? Like you said, no ego, no kings. Like, yeah.
Gonna make money on bullets, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's a great way to end the show, Nataliya. So thank you so much for sharing your journey so openly, so honestly, and being so vulnerable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nataliya shared a lot of wisdom today, but I want to distill it into three major takeaways you can apply to your solo business right now. The first lesson is this: your business problems are usually just unresolved personal problems wearing a business suit. Nataliya put it simply: a business is really just an extension of the owner's energy field. We like to think we can compartmentalize. We tell ourselves that our personal avoidance of conflict, our need to people please, or our fear of being judged is something we can leave at the door, but we can't. Nataliya used the perfect example: keeping someone on your team far too long because you personally want to keep the peace and avoid a difficult conversation. That personal hesitation directly impacts your business's bottom line. So if you're a solopreneur hitting a wall, maybe a revenue plateau or an operational issue you just can't seem to fix, stop looking at your spreadsheets for a second. Look in the mirror. Ask yourself, what personal discomfort am I avoiding that is manifesting as a bottleneck in my business? The fix isn't a new marketing tactic, it's self awareness. The second lesson is that burnout isn't a working too many hours problem, it's an alignment problem. In the entrepreneurial world, we are taught to believe that sacrifice and suffering are prerequisites for success. Nataliya reached a point where she felt like a sluggish pickup truck instead of the racing Ferrari she used to be, despite having massive success on paper. Why? Because she was working on things that were killing her spirit. When you are aligned and building something you genuinely love, you can work nonstop and even forget to eat. But it still energizes you rather than depletes you. Now, there are times when you need to slog and even make personal sacrifices, but that should never be the default or constant. So if you're waking up day after day dreading your to do list, don't automatically assume you just need a vacation or a better time management app. You might need a complete realignment. One of the questions I find useful is this: if you remove the money, the status, and everyone else's expectations, would you still want to build what you're building? Take a real look at your offers, your clients right now, and be honest about what's actually weighing you down versus what brings you joy. Because that natural enthusiasm is what attracts the right opportunities without the desperate hustle. The final lesson is simple, but easy to forget when you're running a business on your own. Nataliya talked about how the moment you react from a triggered state, you lose credibility, even when you're right. People don't remember whether you were correct. They remember how you made them feel in the moment. Her fix is almost embarrassingly basic. Breathe. Make your exhale longer than your inhale, and your nervous system calms down enough that you don't say something that you'll regret. So, next time a client emails you in a way that makes your chest tighten, or something you spent weeks planning goes pear shaped, don't respond right away. Step out if you can, breathe, and ask yourself what's actually going on underneath the reactions. Sometimes the answer is nothing and you just need 60 seconds. But sometimes that question saves you from having the same fight with every client because the real fight was never with them. Come back when you're regulated instead of reactive and clouded with emotion. The decision you make when you're calm will always be the clearer one. So here's my challenge to you this week. Run Nataliya's mirror check. The next time something genuinely triggers you, a client email, a comment, a missed deadline, anything that makes your chest tighten, don't just calm down and move on. Pause and ask yourself the question Nataliya asks. Why does this actually bother me so much? Not what did they do wrong, but what in me is reacting this hard. You don't need a perfect answer. You just need to start asking the question instead of simply skipping past it. Because the triggers you never examine don't go away. They just show up again with the next client on the next project wearing a different excuse. Thanks for listening to Unfiltered Solopreneur. If this episode made you realize your brand still feels scattered, or you're just tired of struggling to package your experience so clients actually get it, let's fix that. I'm offering a limited number of free 45-minute brand clarity sessions, and this isn't a sales pitch in disguise. We'll actually look at your messaging live, spot where the friction is, and figure out what would make your brand easier to understand. You can book your spot right now at clarity.boostsolo.com or through the link in the show notes. Remember, your story is your most powerful asset. Live solo or die corporate.